In the last video, I tracked the alignment which started at Washington, D.C., from Waterbury, Connecticut, through Hartford, the capital of Connecticut, to Providence, Rhode Island. My name is Michelle Gibson. I am picking up the alignment in Easton, a town in Bristol County, Massachusetts, that was established in 1694 and incorporated in 1725. In addition, it is part of the six-county definition of the Providence metropolitan area, MSA, of Rhode Island and Massachusetts. In 1803, the Ames Shovel Works was established in Easton. It became nationally known for providing the shovels for the Union Pacific Railroad, which opened the West. It was said to have been the world's largest supplier of shovels in the 19th century. This is the Oakes Ames Memorial Hall, said to have been commissioned by the children of Congressman Oakes Ames as a gift to the town of Easton, and built between 1879 and 1881. The architecture of the building is called Richardsonian Romanesque, named after 19th century architect Henry Hobson Richardson. Interestingly, Mr. Richardson is said to have never finished his architecture studies in Paris due to the Civil War. He also is said to have died at the age of 47, after having a prolific career in the design of mind-blowingly sophisticated and ornate buildings of heavy masonry. Here is an interesting detail of the facade of the house. Ornamental designs like this are typically called pine cones, like on the coat of arms of the city of Augsburg, Germany, which is said to depict a Swiss pine cone. I'm quite sure it is actually a depiction of the human pineal gland, both of which are based on the Fibonacci sequence or spiral. Also known as the third eye, when activated, the pineal gland opens the door to psychic abilities and is our connection to the divine. Much has been done to keep the third eye of people from opening, including the use of fluoride in toothpaste and water, which causes the calcification of the pineal gland. The original advanced civilization on Earth was learning how to raise Kundalini energy from the base of the spine up to the pineal gland, and thus reconnect with the divine. Henry Hobson Richardson is also given credit for designing the adjoining Ames Free Library, pictured on the right. It was said to have been commissioned by the children of Oliver Ames, Jr. after he left money in his will for the construction of a library. The building, we are told, took place between 1877 and 1879. Oliver Ames, Jr. was a co-owner of the Ames Shovel Shop. He was also the president of the Union Pacific Railroad from when it met the Central Pacific Railroad in Utah for the completion of the first transcontinental railroad in North America. Oakes Ames was the other co-owner of the Ames Shovel Shop with his brother Oliver Ames, Jr. Oakes was a member of the U.S. Congress House of Representatives from Massachusetts' 2nd District from 1863 to 1873. He is credited by many as being the most important influence in building the Union Pacific portion of the first transcontinental railroad. He was also noted for his involvement in the Crédit Mobilier scandal of 1867 regarding the improper sale of stock of the railroad's construction company. He was formally censured by Congress in 1873 for this involvement, and he died in the same year. He was exonerated by the Massachusetts State Legislature on May 10, 1883, the 10th anniversary of the completion of the Transcontinental Railroad. The cities of Ames, Iowa, and Ames, Nebraska are both said to be named for Oakes Ames, and were stops on the Union Pacific Railroad. This is the Ames Monument near Laramie in Wyoming. This large pyramid was said to have also been designed by Henry Hobson Richardson and built between 1880 and 1882. It was dedicated to the Ames brothers for their role in financing the Union Pacific Railroad. This is the rockery in the center of North Easton, also known as the Memorial Cairn, said to be a unique Civil War memorial designed by Frederick Law Olmsted in 1882. Next on the alignment is Brockton, one of the two county seats of Plymouth County, along with the city of Plymouth. This is Brockton City Hall, said to have been built in the Romanesque architectural style by local architect Wesley Ling Minor between 1892 and 1894. Brockton High School, said to have been built in 1870, is the largest high school in Massachusetts and one of the largest in the United States, with over 4,200 students. Famous alumni of Brockton High School include boxing legends Rocky Marciano, the only heavyweight champion to retire undefeated as champion, and Marvelous Marvin Hagler, his legal name, the undisputed middleweight champion between 1980 and 1987. Brockton partly derives its nickname of City of Champions in honor of these two boxing champions. In the early 1900s, Brockton was known as the Shoe City. By 1919, there were said to be 39 different shoe manufacturers, employing 13,000 people, like the George E. Keith Company's Walkover Shoes. Here is the Howard and Foster Shoe Factory in Brockton on the left, and on the right is the Sessions House of the Bermuda Parliament in Hamilton, Bermuda. Not identical, but there are certainly some similarities going on here. This is an historic depiction of the W. L. Douglas Shoe Factory in Brockton. On the left is the central architectural feature of this shoe factory, and on the right is Masandra Palace in Yalta on the Crimean Peninsula. Again, not identical, but quite similar looking. The R.B. Grover Shoe Factory of Brockton, pictured here, is associated with a disaster. In 1905, a boiler explosion is said to have leveled the building, killing 58 people and injuring 150. This tragedy is said to have led to more stringent safety laws and a national code governing the safe operation of steam boilers. Next on the alignment, I am being guided to look closely at Weymouth, said to be the second oldest settlement in Massachusetts. It held the distinction of having the oldest continuous town meeting form of government from the time of its founding in 1635 to 1999, when it changed to a city form of government. John Fogg, a Weymouth boot and shoe manufacturer, had left money for the erection of a building to be used as a library. The Fogg Library on Columbian Square was said to have been built in 1897 and dedicated in 1898. It is joined on Columbian Square by the Fogg Opera House, said to have been built in 1887 for John Fogg. It is now just known as the Fogg Building. Looks like it's missing a cupola from that tower now. I wonder why it was removed. Weymouth is bordered by Hingham Bay and Boston Harbor on the north, and its territory includes 3 of the Boston Harbor Islands recreation area, Grape, Slate, and Sheep Islands. Fort Warren is a star fort on George's Island in Boston Harbor, named after the Revolutionary War hero Dr. James Warren, said to have been designed by U.S. Army Corps of Engineers Lieutenant Colonel Sylvanus Thayer, and built between 1834 and 1860. During the Civil War, it served as a prison for Confederate officers and government officials. This is the Sally Port at Fort Warren, which was a secure and controlled entryway to the prison. There are a number of lighthouses in the Boston Harbor Islands recreation area. Check out the huge masonry blocks in the foreground of this photo, showing the lighthouse in the background. This is another view of what appears to be the same lighthouse, compared with the similar rocky and shaped terrain at Peggy's Cove Lighthouse in Nova Scotia. I will be tracking the alignment in the next video through this part of Nova Scotia. Based on what has come up in the research for this particular video, I want to conclude the video with thoughts on 2 examples of what we are taught is folklore, but which I think contains glimpses of information about what has taken place here. The first is the legend of John Henry. This statue of John Henry is at the John Henry Museum in Talcott, West Virginia. Behind him is the Great Bend Tunnel of the Big Bend of the Greenbrier River in West Virginia. It was said to have been built between 1870 and 1872. John Henry was said to have worked as a steel driving man, tasked with hammering a steel drill into rock to make holes for explosives, to blast the rock in constructing a railroad tunnel. He was said to have died after winning a race against a steam-powered rock drilling machine. This is one of the places that lays claim to be where this epic contest took place. This is what the interior of the Great Bend Tunnel looks like, the construction of which we are told started 5 years after the end of the Civil War. Why were the Ames shovel shop's shovels so important to the opening of the railroad to the west? One would think you would need way more than shovels and explosives to do this kind of sophisticated engineering work. What if, instead of constructing, they were actually digging already existing infrastructure out of mud? The other legendary folk hero I would like to address is Paul Bunyan and his buddy, Babe the Blue Ox. Here they are at St. Ignace in the Upper Peninsula of Michigan, with Castle Rock in the background. Castle Rock even has 2 turrets. There is a lot of evidence out there about the existence of giants all over the world, including North America, that has been squelched, secreted away, or destroyed. Regardless of the accuracy of the physical appearance upon which the legend of Paul Bunyan was based, because it is not representative of the giants who were actually here from ancient times, I can show you evidence for the existence of a creature like Babe the Blue Ox. This is Blue Babe, said to be a 36,000-year-old steppe bison found near Fairbanks, Alaska. This is an exhibit at the University of Fairbanks Museum. Take from this what you will. One of the places that Paul Bunyan is said to be from is Wausau, Wisconsin. I looked into this place specifically because Wausau looks like it is connected to Washa or Washita, variations of the same name. Wausau was said to have been established in 1852. There is a suburb of Wausau named Rothschild. Take from this what you will also. There are a lot of inconsistencies and holes in the history we have been taught. I will end this video here, and in the next video we'll first check out nearby Boston, slightly northwest of the alignment, before tracking the alignment across the Atlantic Ocean to Nova Scotia.